Hey, Mean Matt here. So, WrestleMania 3. The Unstoppable Force versus the Unmovable Object, as it was. And, yeah, this was, the third installment. Would get better, or has gotten better by now. And, a great arena in the Pontiac Silverdome in Detroit. It's funny because there was two matches that became legendary in WrestleMania 3. You would think that the main event would be popular, but in this case, you will see one Intercontinental Championship match that would become even more popular, one would argue. Again, with the Can-Am connection, Rick Martel and Tom Zenk, I guess, meaning Canadian-American connection. Never heard of that team before. Rick Martel being from Quebec in Canada, Tom Zenk, American, obviously. Not sure where he's from. They defeated Bob Orton, Cowboy Bob Orton, and Magnificent Don Muraco with Mr. Fuji. So, Rick Martel, I wish they'd bring him back. He still wrestles in the Indies, I believe. He, of course, was the model. Again, another wrestler who never held a WWF Championship or Intercontinental Championship yet. He was tag team champions with Tito Santana, I think. I'll have to look at that when it gets there. You had a great match there, and I honestly have not seen the Can-Am connection, so it's interesting to see that, and I'll have to watch it again, just to, see that match, and, but yeah, they won this one, and very good. Then we had Billy Jack Haynes versus Hercules with Bobby Heenan, and that ended in no contest, double countout, which, again, blah, blah, blah. Both good athletes. Billy Jack Haynes, a legendary, and Hercules Hernandez, who was built as the strong guy, the strong man, if you will. But yeah, it's a shame that those matches end up like that, especially at a WrestleMania. Then we had Hillbilly Jim, Haiti Kid, and Little Beaver, which today wouldn't fly so well. They defeated King Kong Bundy, Little Tokyo, and Lord Littlebrook. It was a 6-man tag team match. Two wrestlers and two midget wrestlers. Yes, I said midget. Deal with it. Pretty good match, especially when you see the Little Beaver and the Haiti Kid go after King Kong Bundy. That was really entertaining. It was back in the day when, you saw a lot of midgets in midget wrestling. And now it's just swoggle. And, yeah, not too much there. And then we went on to Harley Race with Bobby Heenan and the Fabulous Moolah, who defeated Junkyard Dog in a loser must bow match. So I guess this was when he was King of Harley Race. I'm not sure how the hell that happened, if that was the case. I don't remember this match at all. I should start watching this again. I might have seen it. King of Harley Race won That's an interesting match, actually. Never really thought about it. I'm rambling again, aren't I? The Dream Team. Greg Valentine and Bruce Beefcake team up again with Jimmy Valiant, or Johnny Valiant, and Dino Bravo. They defeated the Rougeau brothers, Jacques and Raymond. Now, this was before they had Jimmy Hart in their corner, and they were, the Montreal guys. And when I started watching wrestling, I had no idea that Raymond was a wrestler. I knew him as the guy who was the commentator, like Lord Alfred Hayes. So it was pretty cool to see that. Of course, Jacques Rougeau, who became the Mountie. So, and of course, the comeback was with Pierre. Good match. The Rougeaus were always good. Again, we see Beefcake and Valentine together. So that was an interesting match. Then we get to the hair versus hair match. Roddy Piper versus Adrian Adonis. Now this was right before Adrian went to his cross-dressing phase, or whatever you want to call it. I think he was a openly gay wrestler at one. Not sure when. I gotta look at this guy again. Anyways, so this match was Roddy Piper's last match for 2 years. Last appearance for 2 years. He was gonna do a movie, They Live, directed by John Carpenter. So he became movie star for a bit. So yeah, this was a good match. Piper won. Now this had the face turn of Brutus Beefcake when he came down the aisle and he cut Adrian Adonis' hair. Yeah, this was pretty cool to see that. I hope I'm not wrong on this one. Again, Roddy Piper won and had the cheers, and then went fade away for 2 years. Fade away for a full year before WrestleMania 5, but we'll get to that. Then we had the Hart Foundation and Dangerous Danny Davis, who they defeated the British Bulldogs and Tito Santana. Now, of course, this was Jimmy Hart managing them when they were a heel tag team. Again, see Bret Hart, who would come out of a shell later on as a singles competitor. This guy was good. This match was good. Again, the Bulldogs and the Hart Foundation. We all know that, of course, British Bulldog would later join Jim Neidhart and Bret Hart in the New Hart Foundation in the late 90s. Unfortunately, we lost Davey Boy Smith in 2002, but, the two of the best tag teams. I didn't see the Bulldogs wrestle a lot, but I did see the Hart Foundation have a couple matches. So, good technicians, good match, good match. Bret Hart, of course, a great technician. So there's that. And Butch Reed defeated Koko B. And Koko B, of course, I had no idea. When I first watched wrestling, he was with Owen Hart in High Energy. So I didn't know he wrestled back in the 80s or so. So this was interesting just to know that. And Butch Reed, I didn't see a lot of. But this was a good match. Nothing special. Then we went to what is considered the best match at WrestleMania, or best Intercontinental Championship match of all time. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat versus the champion, Randy Macho King, or Macho Man Randy Savage. We had George Animal Steele with Ricky Steamboat and Miss Elizabeth with Macho Man Randy Savage. Macho Man, of course, did lose to Ricky Steamboat in the poor schoolboy or whatever. This was a good match, you know. I mean, it's considered one of the best matches, as I've said, of all time. But yeah, it was a good feud. Uh, Ricky Steamboat wouldn't be Intercontinental Champion for very long, but losing to the Honky Tonk Man a year later, but well, a few months later, but yeah, this was a really cool match to watch. And then we had speaking of the Honky Tonk Man, the Honky Tonk Man versus Jake Roberts. Of course, the Honky Tonk Man was with Jimmy Hart, and Jake the Snake Roberts was with very cool fucking Alice Cooper. Now, I was a big fan of, oh, I still am a big fan, but I was a big fan of Alice Cooper back when I was 15, and to know that he was in this match was really cool. So you get the, so first two WrestleManias for athletes, this was a match for the Rockstar and Alice Cooper. So, yeah, Honky Tonk Man won, but it wasn't without having Alice Cooper bring on his snake, and then we have Jake Roberts bring on Damien, and chase the Jimmy Hart, which I think was pretty cool. And yeah, there's no better way of putting it myself, but there it is. Well, of course you have last year's WrestleMania, Ozzy Osbourne appeared, but anyways, then we had Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov with Slick, who defeated the Killer Bees, Brian Blair, and Jem Burnzell. Another disqualification match. You know, and I don't remember the Killer Bees. I heard a lot about them when I was a kid. I thought they would look different than I actually saw them, and they don't look anything like I thought. And then you get the team of Nikolai Volkov and Iron Sheik again. So, this was cool. Again, the victory went to Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov. Then we get to the main event. Hulk Hogan, WWF Champion, versus Andre the Giant. Unbeatable Force versus the Unstoppable Force versus the Unmovable Object. You know, Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant were friends in New Japan. They were friends in AWA. They came to WWF. Hulk Hogan became WWF Champion. The Giant always said that it didn't matter if he was WWF Champion. He just wanted to be a Giant. And that was the way it was. Then Hulk Hogan, you know, still being the champion, was on Piper's Pit. And who should show up but Bobby Heenan, who somehow brainwashed Andre the Giant, and then Andre the Giant eventually became heel, wanting his match with Hulk Hogan. And my thinking was, well, who the fuck doesn't want to be WWF Champion? You could say you want to be the Giant all you want, but you really do want to have a chance at the championship. But what was interesting was the turn. How Hogan was like, no, what are you doing? Having Andre the Giant rip the crucifix off of Hogan. Having Hogan bleed. Having Hogan accept the match. So you have it set, Hogan versus Andre, WrestleMania 3. What happens? Hogan wins. The champion went over. Which happened the year before that. You know, people often talk about Triple H having power in the WWE and always wanting to go and wrestle and win every match he's in. Well, depending on who he's wrestling. But this is the second time you had your WWF Championship match at WrestleMania in the main event, and having Hulk Hogan, who could have went over. Now, I understand that Andre the Giant was not at his best, so I get it. Andre the Giant was sick. Andre was sick, but he didn't pass away until 1992. But still, it was a thing that you could have had, and it probably did happen eventually. In fact, I believe it did happen, but Andre put the belt on Ted DiBiase. This to me was, well, whatever, right? You know, over. Hogan should have had Andre go over. That should have happened. But I understand why it didn't happen. I could say the same thing about King Kong Bundy. But it is what it is. Overall, this was a good pay-per-view. This was a good show. WrestleMania 3. Good venue. I was still a baby. Quite, I guess. So, I know my brother watched WWF, so he probably remembers seeing some of it. But yeah, this was a good show. Again, you know, could have happened a different way, the outcome of the main event, but it didn't. Things happen, and that's kind of how it is. Yeah, anyways, talk to you later. Bye.